Okay, Assalamu'alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. I am Herlina Laila. I want to share you about the story is the title After 20 Years by Oliver Henry, or his real name is William Sidney Porter, in the published 1906. Okay, the first I want to talk about characters. In the short story, have some characters. There are the first Jimmy Wells. Jimmy Wells is a 40-year-old New York City patrol officer, and the second is Silky Bob. Silky Bob is the 38-year-old Chicago criminal who is front of successful career. And then the third is the plainclothes police officer, who wears clothes like Jimmy to catch Bob. Okay, go ahead, plot summary. After 20 years is a short story written by Oliver Henry, first published in his anthology The 4 Million in 1906. This story begins with two childhood best friends, Jimmy Wells and Bob, who decide to go down a different road and made a path to meet at the same place after 20 years. Bob left New York to go try his luck in the woods, and Jimmy decided to stay and become a cop. By the time the agreement arrived, exactly 20 years had passed. And then one day, a man waits for his childhood friend at Big Joe Brady's, where they make the deal to meet again. He waits about 2 minutes for his childhood best friend, and he believed that his friend would stay on the appointment. No long later, come a tall man in a long overcoat, with collar turned up to his ears, hurried across from the opposite side of the street. He went directly to the white woman. "Is that you, Bob?" he asked doubtfully. "Is that you, Jimmy Wells?" cried the man in the door. After they met at Big Joe Brady's, the man took Bob somewhere. The man said moderately, "I have a position in one of the city records. Come on, Bob. We'll go around to a place I know of and have a good long talk about the old times." But when they stood in a drugstore shimmering with electric lights, each turned at the same time to look into the other face. "You are not Jimmy Wells," Bob said. 20 years is a long time, but not long enough to change a man's nose from a Roman to a Pope. It sometimes changes a good man into a bad one, said the tall man. "You have been under arrest for 10 minutes, Silky Bob." And it turns out this Bob here is Chicago criminal, and the man was a cop plain clothes like Jimmy Wells, who was assigned to catch Bob. Jimmy was a very responsible police officer for his profession, but since Bob's an old friend, of course he cannot catch him on his own. So he told the other cops if he had an appointment with Bob after 20 years, he would meet Bob at Big Joe Brady's. The conflict in the story is that Jimmy Wells is a cop and Bob is a criminal. They is two childhood best friends. The conflict started when Jimmy was assigned to arrest fugitive named Silky, and it turns out that Silky is Bob, his childhood best friend. And the setting in the story The first in the New York and the second in the Big Joe Brady's. And then theme in the short story is after 20 years, deal with themes relating to conflict, ideas, and opposing choice. Loyalty versus the law is one that is evident. As the as the police officer, Jimmy Wells had to choose between the loyalty of his friend and the law in the which he served. And then analyzing plot. The first is orientation. Orientation in the story is the setting of the dark street in the New York is introduced and the character of Bob and Jimmy are described. And then raising action in the story is Bob's tension is increased as he waits for his longtime friend who was not show up on time. Bob sees the policeman walking up the street, explains his situation, then the policeman walks away. Next, a tall man walks up to Bob, giving him the assumption that it is Jimmy. This man and Bob walk down the road and Bob sees the man in the front of the bright lights of a drugstore. And then climax in the short story is Bob realized that the man is not Jimmy. And then the following action in the short story is the man tells Bob he is under arrest and hand him a note. And the resolution is Bob reads the note at, and realized that the policeman he spoke to earlier was in fact his old friend Jimmy. Moral message. The moral message I got from reading a short story after 20 years is do what you want to do. If there is what you think is right, and leave the job if you think is bad for you and anyone else. Okay, guys, maybe that's all about short story for me, and I'm so sorry if there is have many wrong pronunciation from me. And the last I say wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye bye. See you guys.